Good morning. It's Tuesday morning after a 3-day weekend. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Of course, yesterday, a Martin Luther King Jr. Day here in the United States, so markets closed. Not a lot happening, but let me rephrase that. Not a lot happening in terms of the markets and around the business world, but President Trump starting, we'll just say his shenanigans again out there and causing a lot of turmoil going into the opening of this morning's markets are coming up at 7:30 in the morning. So let's get it all started with the Market Watch. And don't forget, today's our Tuesday. It's the one day we do this show. It's 7 a.m. Yes, I just said out there. Of course, we normally do the show 11 o'clock. We'll talk more about that coming up here. But interesting enough, these are what the stock market's looking like right now before it opens with the futures and everything. This is all due to the talk of Greenland out there happening right now. So everything is way down. I can tell you this. Dow futures, so this is basically what the market's, doing before it opens and kind of off the closing dates. I can tell you right now, Dow futures are down about 700 points, 732 to be exact. The S&P futures are down 110 points right now for the S&P 500. The NASDAQ futures are down 477 points right now as well, all based off of these new tariffs over Greenland and the tough talk between the EU. The EU had a meeting. That'll be our top story here coming up today. So markets are going to open way down today when the market opens coming up here at 7:30. What do they do after that? Well, I think today's going to stay a down day with all of this tough talk out there. Like I said, EU did some tough talking of their own early this morning, their time or our time here as well. Bitcoin here, it trades all weekend long, even on the Monday there. Well, it's down in the 90,979 range here today. Of course, last week it was trading in that 95,000 range for it. Stocks making some waves here in pre-market trading before the market opens at 7:30. First one we're going to look at is NVIDIA out there. Now, when we show you the stocks here at the 7 o'clock show, the red is where it ended on Friday when the markets closed. The gray there is what it's done here for its futures, in pre-market trading, I guess we could say out there. As you can see, NVIDIA there with the gray part is down about 2% here today. Lead tech stocks are all lower and going to open lower today when the market opens here coming up. Traders are trimming their positions. They're selling stuff off here. Not a shocker as well, but it's all because of the tensions and the trade escalations that are happening right now between, the tariffs with Greenland, basically, is what we are looking at. So NVIDIA right now in pre-market trading is down about 2%. I'll have to see how that opens up as well that way. Micron's another one we're going to look at here this morning. Also down today as well. So it closed Friday 7.76% up. You can see the gray there, which is the pre-market trading. Well, it's officially down about 1.5% right now in pre-market trading. They signed a letter of intent, Micron did, to buy Powered Chip Semiconductor Manufacturer Corporation's fab over there in Taiwan. They're buying it for $1.8 billion in cash. I'm not sure if that's what's taking the stock down in pre-market trading, or again, it has to do with that Greenland tariff situation that's just taking the market here early this morning here on this Tuesday, of course, first trading day of the week. Then we're going to look at 3M here right now as well. 3M filters, they're a big conglomerate. They do a lot of stuff, famous for Post-it notes, Scotch tape, they do those air filters, regular tape, painting, masking tape, etc. Well, they released their latest earnings results and full-year guidance. On Friday, they closed 0.60% up, as you can see, and then it's been down here as overnight trading here over the last 3 days as well for them. They're down 4% here in pre-market trading here on this Tuesday. Well, as I said, they released their earnings and full-year guidance. They see earnings in the range of $8.50 to $8.70 per share. Well, that's okay, because the expectation was $8.64 per share. So still in there as well. But it did report mixed results for their fourth quarter, topping earnings estimates, but their revenue was lower than expectations is what is expected here from 3M. So pre-market trading, they're making some waves as well, down 4% here. You can see on those gray lines there on your screen right now. When we come back later and look at stocks, Lululemon, J.P. Morgan, and we'll look at a home builder, D.R. Horton, all making some noise here in pre-market trading here on this Tuesday. And as I said here, right, the stock market, I told you the futures, what we're looking at. I'll tell you again, 722 points down right now for the Dow futures, S&P futures down 108, NASDAQ futures down 467 points here today. And it's all around Greenland side of the uncertainty, I guess we should say here on this Tuesday, of the Greenland threats out there. And if you don't know, President Trump has unleashed economic threats on the European Union all over whether the United States can acquire Greenland or not. And he did say, that it is a mistake that violates a trade agreement. This is from the EU here this morning. I apologize. I should make that clear. So the EU did come out this morning and say it was a mistake on these tariff threats that President Trump is doing, and it's violating a trade agreement that was done last year between the EU and the United States. It all comes out this morning. Here's the exact quote. The European Union and the United States have agreed to a trade deal last July. This is, of course, coming from European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. She said in a speech at the World Economic Forum over there in Switzerland this morning, quote, in politics, as in business, a deal is a deal. And when friends shake hands, it must mean something, unquote. So over the weekend, if you missed it, Trump announced a 10% tariff on goods from 8 European countries beginning February 1st, rising to 25% in June, unless he has a deal for the purchase of Greenland, is what the story behind this all is. And if you don't know, Greenland is a semi-autonomous territory of Denmark. It is in the NATO alliance. It is an EU member as well. The escalation, of course, has prompted European leaders, I should say, to be very upset about this. And they say that the U.S. leader has crossed a red line. The bloc's response will be, quote, unflinching, united, and proportional, unquote, according to the EU president there, von der Leyen, and everything. She did not offer any details about what form a response would take to this threat from the president of the United States. Now, it's not over. The EU had an emergency. She said this at Davos, Switzerland, right, at the World Economic Forum. But EU leaders are going to hold an emergency meeting coming up in Brussels on Thursday this week, and they're going to explore the potential of retaliatory measures against the United States. European Council President, his name's Antonio Costa. Well, he said the EU was united in support of Denmark and Greenland, and said they're ready to, quote, defend ourselves against any form of coercion, unquote. So this is going to be a long week here in terms of the business world and the stock market. As I said, futures are way down today, and the market's going to open way down today here when it opens up at 7:30 Phoenix time here today. And it's all based around this. And if they're having another meeting on Thursday, it's not going to go away quietly this week, folks. So could see some turmoil on the markets here over the next couple of days. Not good news to come into work, right, and do a morning show here, McCollum on Business, our 7 a.m. edition here on Tuesdays moving forward. And before our 11 o'clock normal time on Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays out there. But we'll have to see where this goes here over the next couple of days. But buckle up, guys and gals. Going to be a tough one out there. Let's move into some other stuff here that you need to know as well. And it is official. I told you this on Friday here on the Friday edition of McCollum on Business. Some versions of ChatGPT are going to come with advertisements here coming up. OpenAI, of course, announced this on Friday. It was the headline during our Friday show. Of course, didn't have a lot of details during the show, but we got them over the weekend. So OpenAI did say that in the next few weeks, it will begin testing ads for the free and low-cost subscription, the Go versions, if you will, of ChatGPT. And it's going to be in the United States mainly. And it's going to be for logged-in adult users is where those ads are going to happen. So the lower tiers, the free and the lower tiers, the Plus, Pro, Business, and Enterprise subscriptions, They will not have any advertisements on those levels. So if you pay at those levels, you're safe from the advertisers. Users can expect ads at the bottom of the answers in ChatGPT when there's a relevant sponsored product or even a service based on that current conversation that you're having with the chatbot. OpenAI did say ads will be clearly labeled. They won't be included under, quote, sensitive or regulated topics, unquote. So that means there would be no ads still on the health, mental health, or even the politics side of the chatbot if you're talking about that stuff. In addition to advertising on OpenAI's chatbot, well, why are they doing this? Well, it's all because of a new potential to drive new revenue for OpenAI. Why do they need revenue? Well, they don't win money. They don't make a lot of money. They don't have a big company behind them like Google's AI bot, Gronk, of course, with X and a couple other, Elon Musk companies. It doesn't have those big companies behind it. So they have to do their own stuff out there. And OpenAI is committed to spend over $1.4 trillion in the next 8 years to help build out that chatbot as well. So, and their AI infrastructure to build it out. So they, need a lot of money in that. So they're viewing advertisements coming up here on the chatbots. I do think that's going to be a a trust issue here with the chatbots. Because if you do ask the chatbot for something, are you going to think that it's going to sway you towards that advertisement of that they have there on their response? I do think it's something interesting to pay attention to, and we'll have to see how that plays out. And if you don't think it's going to not go to the pay side once this gets tested out, I think you might be a little bit delusional on that side as well. Hey, speaking of things, right? We talked about the New York Stock Exchange here. The indexes at least here earlier today. And now the New York Stock Exchange, well, they're getting involved with the you know, token side of the investing world. Yeah, the New York Stock Exchange is working on a digital platform that would enable investors to trade digital tokens 24 hours a day. Well, there's some sides of it, only on the weekdays at least, but this platform is going to separate and be separate from the New York Stock Exchange itself. The New York Stock Exchange only operates on weekdays, as you know, certain hours of the day. You have pre market trading that we've looked at here today as well, but mainly it's only during the working hours, no holidays, etc. And it's going to, this new market is going to allow for instant settlement of transactions, orders sized in dollar amounts, and stablecoin based funding. New York Stock Exchange is owned by a company. It's called Intercontinental Exchange. They came out with all this information yesterday here in a big statement. Tokenization, if you don't know, uses blockchain technology. It powers cryptocurrencies to create digital tokens as a standalone or stand-ins, I should say, right? They work in conjunction with stocks, bonds, real estate, fractional ownership of a piece of art, for instance. And it can be traded like crypto by virtually anyone, anywhere in the world at any time as well. Stablecoins, they're a type of cryptocurrency, typically bought and sold for $1. They have a backing. Usually the dollar is the backing there for the stablecoins. Well, they've helped fuel the appetite for tokenized other financial assets out there. The New York Stock Exchange looking to get into this business here coming up, and assuming it does meet regulatory approvals and go through that process, the platform would power a new New York Stock Exchange venue, and it would help support trading of tokenized versions of company shares coming your way. So if you're into that stuff, there you go. Some new options for you, possibly on the horizon as that announcement is out there. And now let's talk to our Canadian friends out there. And not Canada itself, but specifically, and this company flies into Arizona here. That's how we get a lot of our Canadian visitors here, and it's called WestJet Airlines. If you've flown them before, it's a smaller airline out there. They do go between here, obviously, in Canada, as we have a lot of Canadians that come down here. But WestJet's back on a few things here, right? And I don't understand why they thought this was a good idea in the first place, but at least they're correcting it. At least they're saying they're going to correct it. And on Friday, WestJet Airlines announced that they will reverse its decision to reconfigure planes with tighter seats, folks. Yes, videos have gone viral showing frustrated travelers' knees pressing against the seat in front of them, all because they shrunk the spaces to put some more rows in and make more revenue. In this reconfigured layout, it rolled out in late October. It is only on select Boeing 737s. What they did was they did space between the rows. It was reduced to 28 inches. And of course, adds one extra row of seats to the back of the plane, is what it does. WestJet also made economy class seats non reclinable, offering passengers the option, what else, to pay extra for those seats that do go backwards. In a news statement, the WestJet did say it will reverse what it called the densified seating, is how they phrased it. They're going to remove the additional row of seats and give you more room here for your precious little knees. Following a review, here's their statement in the report. Following a review of operational data and feedback from guests and WestJetters, the airline will return to its prior standard seat pitch for economy cabins on those recently reconfigured aircraft by removing one row of seats. Yeah. So your voice does work, right? Out there. WestJet's rollout of the reconfigured seats, well, widespread freak out on this. Outraged by its competitors as well. But not just to you as a paying person if you've traveled WestJet and got on one of these planes, but even crew members have been throwing a fit about this as well. Lots of concern of people being able to get out of the seats in case of an emergency, as you're jammed in there with that 28 inches of space now. So they're backing this up. I don't know what airline said we need to shrink the space, and they all do it. They all do it. They go shorter and test it, shorter and test it, and eventually it hits that level where people do get upset about it out there. And WestJet backing that up at least, so give them props for that. And one thing we know, right? Fast food is slowed down. Fast food is as expensive as going to a restaurant if you have a family. Two people eat at McDonald's, you might as well go to one of these, like a Chili's or something, and spend the same amount of money for more food out there. Well, now McDonald's is making some more changes here coming up into 2026. They have what the professionals are calling out there an ambitious shakeup plan. Yes, they want to bring in, obviously, more people. How they're going to do that? Well, nostalgia, technology, boost the customer loyalty out there with that app as well. And then also they want to be better and adapt to changing consumer habits that we have by just the way the economy is going right now. So here's how they're going to do it. McDonald's does plan to open more than 8,000 new restaurants in the world by the end of 2026. That, of course, is part of that larger goal we've told you about here at McCollum on Business to reach at least 50,000 locations by 2027. Growth will focus on high traffic and emerging markets to put those stores into. And if there is an existing location that needs some help, well, they'll continue to be upgraded to meet new operational standards that McDonald's is putting into place. So they're going to revamp about 27,000 drive-through locations. More sites changing to those multi-lane formats. A lot of ours here have multi-lane formats, especially my gosh, even the one here in downtown Phoenix has a multi-lane format now as well. So here, I think we have a lot of those here in Arizona, at least as of now. Other places do not, and obviously that cuts wait time, speeds up bigger order volumes with that multi-lane. And then franchisees, they're going to face more standardized pricing guidelines this year. Food prices will still vary by region, but individual operators will have less leeway to make adjustments. Isn't that annoying when you go to one McDonald's and you go to another one and it's just the price is way more or way less than what you were eating before? Pricing decisions will be informed by location data, third-party tools, and consultants, which tells me they're going to do some AI stuff here to determine the pricing in certain locales. It's going to basically do all of that to deliver more consistent value across all of their markets. So McDonald's also, they're going to redo their menu a little bit. You're going to see new drink options tested through its that Cosm MC's concept. The individual stores that failed, they're going to start putting that into the regular restaurants. So this will roll out to more than 500 locations. So it's going to basically probably, if you go off the Cos MC's portion of things, it's going to include specialty cold drinks, slushies, flavored beverages as well, that they're losing a lot of work to Dutch Bros and, of course, Black Rock with those flavored drinks out there. The question is, will you be able to get them? I went to McDonald's this morning and smoothie couldn't get a smoothie. Their machine wasn't working earlier this morning. That's like their ice cream machine, right? Company's going to expand its chicken lineup. It's going to have new wraps and upgraded sandwiches. Burger quality is going to be paid attention to as well. The Better Burger Initiative is what they're going to call it. It's focusing on improved preparation techniques, fresher ingredients, and tighter food handling standards. Is that alarming? That what are we dealing with now? They're going to improve that as well. They're going to accelerate its shift toward card and tap to card systems. So cash transactions. If you haven't been around for a while, pennies are being phased out. So they're going to round up or down their menu here for those cash transactions as well out there. And then finally, the rewards program is going to be expanded. It's going to have more personalized deals depending on what you eat there, smoother mobile ordering, and additional ways to earn points. There at McDonald's as well. And then, of course, they're doing what like Taco Bell has done recently. They're going to move AI tools, as specific on the ordering side of things. Their AI tools are going to be developed with Google Cloud. They're expected to support faster drive-through ordering and reduce errors that happen, which of course will take some pressure off the staff and things to that effect. So McDonald's is embracing that ordering through AI, like I said, Taco Bell's been doing for almost a year now, I believe, from that perspective. So some changes coming to your McDonald's coming up here as well. And when we come back here at McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition, means the morning business show. We go back to 11 o'clock on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. So come and join us. Catch us on demand as well. I'll fill you in on that when we come on back. Some local stories coming your way as well here on this Tuesday edition of McCollum on Business. And we're back here, McCollum on Business Tuesday edition, which means for one, first show of the week with Monday being the MLK holiday, and then two, our 7 a.m. show here this week. So if you're catching us live, thank you very much. I do see you here. I just checked the numbers, and I do see you guys logging in at 7, so I appreciate that very much. If not, catch us on demand. We'll get this posted up here as quickly as we can, of course, to Robat TV, the YouTube page as well. No podcast here for this show, so catch it at one of those two locations as well here in on-demand service. Of course, the main event coming up today, 8 to 10 a.m. No Bruce Cooper today. He unfortunately is sick. He'll be in later in the week. But lots to talk about with football this weekend. We have a national champion in football, NFL football, Suns over the weekend. All that coming up here, 8 to 10 a.m. live with your Robat subscription. With me and 17-year NFL veteran Del Hellestree, and, of course, on demand after that as well. YouTube, as well as Robat TV and podcast system at TME Sports Show is where you can find the podcast. But if your favorite podcast system, catch that show as well. Pit Stop, as you saw, there's an ad coming back here. Racing gets underway here in a couple weeks. Pit Stop will be underway here. Pay attention to when we will announce that coming back for this 2026 season. NASCAR is just a couple weeks away from getting started. Then, of course, IndyCar in March 1st. Then you got F1 after that. At the Pit Stop Talk is where you can follow us on social media for that show. Of course, hit us up on the YouTube page as well, on demand there. Robat TV, favorite podcast system, at the Pit Stop is where you can find that as well. Then the Real Matrix. Fridays, 10 a.m. here at Robat TV is when the show weekly gets posted. And then, of course, noon on YouTube. And then the free podcast system at the Real Matrix is where you can find the show in the podcast system out there. New episodes every Friday, 10 a.m. on Robat, noon everywhere else, folks. 13 episodes are up for you right now. More coming your way every Friday coming up. The Angry Patriot just asks that you go into the shows with an open mind. He'll get you all set up and kind of put the news out there for you. And he says you make the decision on how you feel about it from that side. So something you're interested in, of course, check it out as well out there. And with all that being said, it's been a rough beginning of the week here in terms of the market. Well, let's get into it with that Market Watch. As I said, market opens here at 7:30 this morning, but everything is down today. And this is where the market's going to open up at, it looks like, as of right now. Everything's negative. Not a shocker. Dow futures are way down today as well, all because of the tariff threat over Greenland, their response this morning. Dow futures, I can tell you right now, are 731 points down. S&P futures are down 105. NASDAQ futures down 453 points here today. And you see here as the market is going to open, you see on your screen where it's going to open up down here, coming up in about 4 minutes out there. We'll probably pop this up at the end of the show and just give you an idea because the markets will be open at that time. Again, Greenland, tariffs, lots of uncertainty. I'll even give you another point. U.S. 30-year Treasury yields, well, they jumped 9 basis points this morning alone as the trade war fears continue and creep back into this marketplace as well. So 9 basis points for U.S. 30-year Treasury yields, which, of course, follows the markets as well out there. So tech stocks, by the way, are leading the Wall Street sell-off this morning with these escalations. We showed you that earlier with the NVIDIA stock, and now stocks we're paying attention to. First one's going to be Lululemon out there. They're down. You can see they closed 1.53% down on Friday, and you can see they've been down in pre-market trading today as well. Semaphore did come out, the publication. They reported, and they cited people familiar with the situation. Well, that their founder there of Lululemon, Chip Wilson, they say he's trying to excise private equity firm Advent from the company's board, which basically means there's an ongoing proxy battle within Lululemon going on, and they are down in pre-market trading 1.8% here today for them. Then there's JP Morgan we'll take a look at. A lot of banks are reporting right now as well. We talked about that on Friday. Fifth Third's reported, among some other ones over the weekend. Mixed results out there for them. But why are we focused on JP Morgan? Well, they ended Friday 1.01% up and then down after that. The pre-market trading, they're down 1.6% as of right now. Donald Trump did come out and he did do a thread over the weekend and said JP Morgan could be sued by him. Well, because they allegedly debanked President Trump and his businesses following the January 6th incident over there at the U.S. Capitol. I know some people, it depends on your politics if you call it a riot or not. So I'm just going to call it the incident, which will make everybody mad, I think, because we don't do politics here on the show as well. But 1.6% down here in pre-market trading for JP Morgan based off of that news. And then let's go to the home builder side. D.R. Horton out there is the last stock we're looking at right now as well. And in pre-market trading, they're actually up. They finished Friday down 3.13%, and they're up right now at 2.9% here in pre-market trading. Market opens in just a minute here, but their fiscal first quarter results did beat expectations as a home builder. Their earnings came in at $2.03 per share. Now, the expectation was only $1.93 per share. Their revenue was $6.89 billion. The expectation was only $6.59 billion. So D.R. Horton blowing away their expectations here in pre-market trading. They are up 2.9% right now for them. And like I said, markets opening here in less than a minute here today. Just really quick, going back to the bank stuff, Fifth Third's Bank, they're up in pre-market trading about 1%. They recorded their fourth quarter earnings as well. And then their net interest income came in at $1.53 billion. That's the only thing that came in under forecast, and that came in 1.53. Well, 1.54 billion was the expectation as well for them. So good results there. At least I view there. And then Key Corp also bank, but their shares are down 3% in pre-market trading because their fourth quarter results, well, underwhelmed investors, even though they were above analyst expectations. So mixed results in the banking world out there here today, but not a lot of mixed results as the market's opening right now, and Dow futures, yeah, being way down here today, as we've showed you throughout. We'll take a peek at that here coming up again here at the end of the show. But first, let's get into some local stories out there. That Palo district that's happening. This is the former Fiesta Mall site over there in Mesa. We're learning of new things being planned for that area as they're tearing that down and rebuilding that site right now. And now we know that that site is supposed to host a what they're calling an AI venture studio. Now I saw this on multiple news outlets this weekend: Fox 10, KTAR, Business Journal. I'm still kind of confused on what they're doing, but basically, it's a place where startups for that do AI stuff, they can pitch an AI product and have it developed with the backers of LG Electronics and the venture capital firm Nova Wave, is what they're doing. So it's a Shark Tank type place. The business venture studio is expected to be housed inside what they've already announced, the Women's Health Campus, the Mayo there as well. And they announced that last month. We told you about here at McCollum on Business as well. So they say this whole site envisions office buildings, mixed use retail, residential units. Remember that stadium facility is also it's been geared towards that as well in that Fiesta Mall side of things as well. And I can tell you, markets right now just opened up, and the Dow is down 600 points here on the opening of this all around that global trade wars. So that's what the Dow actually opened at, folks. 600 points down here today based off of that. McCarthy Building Companies, huge construction company throughout the United States and everything. Well, interesting enough, I knew this from my construction side, but they're an employee owned company out there as well. But they're doing a bit of expansion coming up here, and they recently purchased a Tempe hotel with a very interesting outside of it as well. But they're going to make it an employee development center, is what they're going to do. So they announced this all on Friday. McCarthy's does new construction and remodels, etc. out there. Big company. Well, they bought that DoubleTree by Hilton hotel. That's the one at Priest Drive and Broadway Road, if you drive in that area. This new center is going to be used for employee learning, leadership, and development. It's expected to bring thousands of McCarthy employees from around the country into Tempe here. It's going to be for multi-day learning and development programs, as well as team building trips as well. This Tempe Learning and Development Center, well, it'll obviously expand McCarthy's presence here in Arizona. It's huge presence already. So it already has an innovation and craft workforce center down there in Chandler. And then also they have a Southwest regional headquarters here in Phoenix as well for them. The Chandler Center, that focuses on providing discipline-specific training, hands-on skill development, things like prefabrication capabilities, and basically that's all there to help their professionals and trade partners, get for their building side of things. So now McCarthy building a hotel that'll be a training center and bring people in as well. So interesting move, and companies do these types of moves. I find it fascinating, right? Save down on hotel costs, get them all into one place, and also have training there as well when they come into town. And then we got an update for you on that Banner Health's proposed expansion that is waiting for a public vote on if it's going to pass or not, and it's been delayed for a while now. There's a lot of consternation around this. This is that multi-phase, $750 million Scottsdale Medical Campus expansion that Banner Health wants to do. The public vote on it, though, has officially been delayed as of the end of last week. The Scottsdale Planning Commission did not vote on that January 14th meeting on whether to recommend approval for a zoning change. This is all about that conditional use permit that the hospital wants for that 31-acre development in North Scottsdale. So the applicant there of the expansion in the public vote side, her name's attorney Susan DeMitt. She's of Gamage and Burnham out there. Well, they asked the commission for a continuance with an undetermined date to work through issues and questions that came up during the meeting. Concerns, no shocker here, but concerns that have been brought up by commission members includes the hospital's proximity to that Scottsdale airport. How is the expansion going to affect that? Traffic in the area, meaning driving traffic, how that's going to be alleviated as that gets busier in that area. And then also, what's the impact the hospital could have on the nearby fire department and ambulance services? Obviously, hospitals have their own services there as well, at least on the ambulance side. They did not have those answers, so they asked for a continuance. And my question is, how do you not have the answers to that stuff? But on hold is the update there in terms of the public vote there of that Scottsdale Hospital expansion happening out there. As we wrap up here today on this Tuesday edition of McCollum on Business, don't forget we go to 11 o'clock again, like normal, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Rest of the week, let's throw up the graph here as the markets are officially open here this morning. Dow Jones has opened 600 points down today, so it's not updated yet in the trade view. I can just tell you Dow Jones is down 699 points right now. Just our version of it that we obviously take from sites out there. Hasn't been updated yet, but the Dow Jones is down 700 points, 699.45 points right now. S&P 500 is down 95. NASDAQ's down 386 points right now. Interesting enough, the Russell 2K is up 3 points for it. It's kind of bucking that trend as the markets are officially open now. And then Bitcoin still trading in that 90,000 range. 90,686 for it. Of course, last week it was in 95,000 range there. So the sites we use to update are delayed, but not delayed too much, but obviously have not updated here since the market's open. So this is all around the Greenland tariff effects here. So we'll have to see how the rest of today goes. Of course, we'll get you informed tomorrow at 11 o'clock, also here at McCollum on Business. We have the main event coming up here, 8 to 10 o'clock. Stay with us, folks. Come on back and join us live. Of course, catch this on demand here as well, and we appreciate you. However you watch McCollum on Business or any of our programming here. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody, at 11. It's McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition. Have a great Tuesday night, everyone.